And welcome back to the SA4IR Social Portal 2020. We've made it. Ranel, welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much, Ntokozo.
Thank you.
2020.
We are here.
We are here, and we continue on the journey.
Come on.
To advocate,
Yes.
teach, bring forth knowledge that is absolutely critical for South Africa and citizens and whoever is in the technology space, using technology, to really understand, the times we are in.
And now more than ever, because we've just entered a new decade.
A new decade.
And it's so amazing that we've entered the decade where, for example, in the 2014 report of the World Economic Forum, they were talking about how the fourth industrial revolution will see the full might of it and everything it has for us in 2030, which means that if a person really wants to be at the forefront of it, they need to make the necessary moves now.
Exactly.
And on that point, as I was looking at getting into the year, I was very curious with what South Africa is looking at and what South Africa is searching for. And it's so interesting seeing some of the trends that tell you what we are thinking about. And
absolutely,
to me, it's quite interesting because it's very different from what I would think. Here you are, you've got a country that's complaining about unemployment and Eskom having issues and just a whole lot of things. And the interest of the country is very different from that. And I'll read for you, for example, some of the things that were there, where some of the trending topics were Kaizer Chiefs versus Cape Town City. Real Madrid versus
Atletico.
Yes.
Atletico Madrid.
And then some of the entertainment related ones where who's this DJ? Let me just come here quickly. Oh, there's Chiefs as well. There's Amazulu versus Supersport United. Now all of this to me says we're very interested in our entertainment. And I'm wondering about that because here's the thing, if you're going to be building a future for yourself, it will show with the things that you're interested in and putting a lot of your focus on. For the whole of 2020, it's now the 13th of January, and there's been nothing that's trending in terms of education, in terms of new businesses, in terms of new things that you need to be focusing on. And remember now, these search trends also include things that people are searching for on YouTube. I would think some of the trending videos are some of the innovations of the fourth industrial revolution, and I'm getting none of that. So what do you make of it?
Yo, Togozo, it's really a deep reflection of the psyche of this country. And I'm speaking from the point of view of its citizens.
All right.
Government has really focused on putting itself out as and of course, naturally, our government has to attend to this policy and global developments. Because out and out, it is what they must do.
Yes.
It is a government that must be effective in managing the economic and the social spheres of life. Now, the challenges I see it is that, and it is across the board, because what we have done is we have left the future, and as I say, naturally, but not correctly. In the hands of policymakers in government. Now, for example,
you mean the citizens have left it to someone else?
Of course.
Right.
But this is a time where, when we speak, for example, of the fourth industrial revolution, it is a time for people to skill themselves.
Yes.
Understand this development. But do you see? It's like one rapper, I
remember
I enjoy and I've enjoyed, hip hop, more conscious hip hop. So one of the things that this person said, and now I'm just focusing on the black population of the African population of South
Sure.
Africa. And in general, the African population across the diaspora and even in America.
Right.
We are all in sports and entertainment.
Hmm.
Right? Do you see how...
This is across the board, regardless of what country you're in.
Yes.
That seems to be the
That
thing that
seems
we
to-
gravitate towards the most.
Exactly. Now, it's a structural thing.
Huh.
Because, you know, we have been, as Africans, we have had to play always second fiddle.
Okay.
Even in terms of the first and the third world, we always play second fiddle because it seems the first world are the innovators of the world. They are the ones that set the trend and the agenda of human civilization.
Both in technology and intellectual.
In all
topics as well.
respects, in all respects. You see how many books we read that we enjoy. In numbers, we read more American books and books globally than we do our own,
Right.
especially in South Africa.
Huh.
So, this notion of being separated and not giving yourself the responsibility to understand your reality is exactly why you find this trend of all things about entertainment, because all things to Africans, these are the spaces and I mean the spaces, the economic spaces in which we excel.
How is that possible for a nation of people who have had the worst of it? You know, you've had the traumas of pre-1994, and then here we are now in the probably we're right at we're at risk of a recession, right? With everything that's happening back there, how is it possible that you can get hit so many times and it still doesn't change your thinking?
See, when I say it's structural, what I mean is the manner in which African life is positioned in the bigger global and in global life, let me put it like that, across all nations.
Right.
This African continent, you see, it is still even up to today referred in the sense as a dark continent.
Okay.
Because if you comparatively look at, for example, the type of citizen that is in the first world is unlike the type of citizen that is in the third world, in Africa specifically. One, the level of education is high. The level of understanding their position in society is much more pronounced. These are the people that make it their business to understand even policy implications,
right,
for themselves, just as individuals. So here we can say that there is more in the first world, what we call active citizenry.
Sure.
Active citizenship.
Okay.
As opposed to Africa, where there is a lack of active citizenship, where all aspects of our life are left to government to manage and handle, and even to give us positions of where our future will go. So we live in the policies that are set by our governments. Yes, naturally, it is their task,
their role.
But the difference in Europe is that Europeans, and even in the first world, are so involved in the future they want, in defining the future they want. And they understand their relationship to their governments in a different way. They don't say the authority lies with government. They say the authority and responsibility lies with us to check what government is saying and how it is, what implications that will have to us as citizens. So that's why you see the World Economic Forum is one such example. It is a forum where you've got business, NGOs and whatsoever, civil society coming together to appraise each other about the future of their existence.
They're actively creating it in everything that they do.
Yeah.
They're not just waiting for it to hit them and then decide what happens after the fact.
In unison.
Huh.
So, of course, we can simply say they are advanced societies. That's what they call it. Advanced society. So everything else, even state-citizen relations, are advanced. They are not like here in Africa where state-citizen relations are still paternalistic, father to the child. Now there is, of course, father to the child, structurally, in simplicity, but in action, it's not like that.
Okay.
The Europeans are so involved in how, just take for example Brexit. It was not left unto government, British government, to lead that process. There were interest groups that were saying, no, we don't want to leave.
Because they know the implications.
Some of them are actually working in Europe. So in Europe, what I mean is Europe as a bloc, EU, European Union. So now if you extricate or remove Britain from it,
it makes my traveling and the logistics of that much more complicated.
Even working in, for example, France as a British citizen becomes difficult, because then it will take you back to where you must sign on work permits
and visas
and all of that. So this is where citizens are saying, no, wait, this will impact on me as Untoboso, as Sam or whatsoever. So we stand and say, no, we enter that space as citizens. So the matter of us being so focused on sport and entertainment.
Yes, distractions for all intents and purposes.
Well, distractions to development.
And the interesting thing is that, remember, it's the beginning of the year. You'd think that distractions come in around holidays. It's the beginning of the year. This is what we're most interested in as the year sets off.
No, the point is...
How is that possible?
No, the point is this. As I said, it is a cultural issue. Not culture in the sense of simply, black or white. It is a learning culture. It is a culture of awareness that's not there. It is a culture of people believing the state is one to give. This is a major thing, because if you just Google perspectives or words that have been said before, you will find that even today you'll find people saying, no, it is problematic because South Africans are waiting for government to give them. So there's an admission.
You called it a welfare state at some point.
Exactly. So there is an admission even in government that our citizenry is too dormant in understanding, or call it not dormant, call it, what's the right word they use here in Togozo? Apathetic in involving themselves in defining and actively creating their future. Now, of course, it's because we come from an authoritative state of apartheid, where clearly government was an authority upon people. Now today, they are trying to reverse that psychology and say, no, you citizens should not wait for the government to give you 1, 2, 3 things. vukuzenzele, as they use the word. It was better if you using the word vukuzenzele, the platforms for somebody to rise and do were in place and consciously in place. Because this is strategy. Ne? At a high level, first world countries strategize around their future.
Right.
Define it and work on it. Of course, they don't do a future that does not have what's the right word here? Progress.
Yes.
Or benefits for their citizens.
Right.
Yeah. So policies always to say, no, look, we are trying to improve the quality of life of citizens. Now, indeed, I would also agree and say this is not a time really for South Africans to continue this psyche of paternalism. The state is their parent that must give.
Which hasn't really led us anywhere where we would like to end up in future.
And hence, for example, you see our problems now. We are dealing so much with corruption as the trending value that defines our state of life.
Right.
We are being governed by corruption. People are corrupt in government, people are corrupt even in general society. And they rub these things in the face of people. This morning, you know, in fact, yesterday, the political scientist, Mwele Zimbeki, you know, the questions were posed unto him, of course, around not only the Iran-US the United States situation standoff.
We need to have an episode about
that. So not only that, but what they were asking was, we are talking about the ANC's January 8th statement, which is a policy statement which assures us that wishes to assure us that ESCOM is being dealt with.
Okay.
Which wishes to assure us that education will still be focused on.
Right.
Now, well, there are perspectives about that. Sure. Some would say this is just a rehash of what has been said 1,000 times already. In fact, if you can check it, maybe if you do an analysis of these statements, you can see a trend of a promise.
Which was
5-6 components of the promise.
Which is why people lose faith at some point, like, whatever.
Yeah. So maybe it is fatigue from citizens. But not so much fatigue, in my view, but a lack of advancement in how they look at their futures vis-a-vis how they must be brought up. All of us walk the same path. Social security. You know, I was with a very interesting gentleman who happened to be an official that created SASSA as an agency, a welfare agency. And he was saying to me, look, the only sure social security in this country is employment.
Okay.
Remember, social security.
Yes.
Not welfare.
Okay.
Those are
big difference.
So welfare is a component of social security.
Right.
But employment is also another defining character of social security. Somebody who's socially secure either is working or is living off umdende,
yes,
as they call it.
Sure.
So it is the psyche that is being a problem. We Africans have accepted our place in certain spaces. As I say, football, sports, music, entertainment.
Right.
Now, as I always say, in the bigger scope of existence, that draws us back, because these entertainments, these sports, Okay?
Alright.
They send certain value systems to our people.
I.e.
You see, for example, why